Hey guys, what's going on? So I get a lot of questions about, advertising and mostly Facebook ads, which is both great but also not great because, I want you guys to be able to put out ads confidently as well as reach more people. I do know I have a lot of friends that start their businesses, so I'd very much like to help get that promoted for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to a website that I use a lot for my advertising creations. Sounds like a really weird word, but let's go ahead and get there. Alright, so it's canva.com. You'll see a lot of people use this. I use it for literally everything, both my own businesses, my marketing for other people, etc. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pull up, I actually have an image right here I'll just use. So this is just something that you can look up at your own time. It's fantastic because it gives you the dimensions that you want to use. So for example, Twitter, how it has a header and it may look different. Literally, you can go down here and say, well, I want to make sure it specifically fits Twitter. Oh, perfect. Here's the Twitter header. And look, it's got those pixels listed right there. So you can either mock one up elsewhere, it gives you the dimensions, or you can just use this, which is probably the most easy way of doing that. But as you can see, they're different across the board because different platforms use different sizes. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and go over to Facebook. And what I'm looking for here is just my ads manager. Should be somewhere on the left or right, whichever yours looks like. Should be on the left, I would think. All right, ads manager, perfect. So it's loading right now. Yours may look different depending on how you have your set up. It's saying that some changes may be coming soon. They do change things very often. So what I recommend doing at any given time is coming in here and just taking a look, getting more familiar. So I'm literally just going to click on the green create button. Yours may just be blank and say that little button there. Ignore this. So basically it's going to say, hey, you left off somewhere. Go ahead and just start over if you have that. Or you're going to have one that's up right now like this. Okay, so with this screen that I'm looking at right now, this is something super, super easy. It may be kind of daunting, but don't psych yourself out too much. So I'm just giving you a second to read through some of those. You can even pause if you like. So what I like to do is really just a few of these that are key. I'm gonna do one for conversions though. So that could be either this section, obviously under the conversion column, or you could even possibly do something like lead generation, simply because it does help generate leads into like a sales funnel. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to conversions for just this little practice lesson. And make sure you do label stuff. Helps a lot. All right, so I know that this is for my estates account and it's not going to be for a different page. Okay. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is it wants me to select a conversion event. For this, what it's going to have you do is use your Facebook or Google Pixel. If you don't know what that is, I would take a second right now and go look into that. It's a little bit too much for me to explain right now. Basically, in essence, if you're familiar with plugins or anything like that, it's very similar to a plugin. However, it's something coded in your websites, and it basically sets up some sort of strategy and campaign for you to go and retarget people. This pixel is going to report data and analytics to you, let you know, people are abandoning your checkout, yada yada. It entirely depends on how you have things set up. That's why I'm saying it gets kind of complicated. But in short, if you have a web developer, run this by them and they can help get that set up how you need it. All right, so I'm going to select a conversion event, meaning what is going to trigger this conversion, what is going to help. And what do I mean by that? Let me hover over one. So this one, view content. It says track key page views, so your product page, landing page, etc. This one could be a search, so if someone searches like a product on my website or they add it to a cart, this is going to be what helps convert them or targets that ad kind of thing. I'm not going to do one of these. I'm not doing it for a like sales type website. So I'm going to do really more so just for this view content, because if they land on my page, that would matter to me. For this, I may not even do a conversion, simply because I would probably do it another way for this type of business, for my real estate one. I'm only just going to show this as a quick example, just to show some basics and how it's really, really, really vast on what you can do. I think a lot of people get tripped up at what you can do, or they may not even be aware of it. One key thing that I will say is do not press that boost button that you see on Facebook or Instagram. It's awesome. It helps get you to promote things in a quick, fashionable way, but it doesn't actually get you to specifically target people the way you need to. So I'd highly avoid doing that and go back in this back end, even if it's confusing. That's exactly what we're going through right now. One thing I did miss really fast up here, the ad set name. Make sure you rename everything you can, especially if you're running multiple campaigns. So I know this is a quick test for conversion on this page, or that's the goal at least. Alright, so got a pixel set in here, that's my conversion. Again, these are going to be totally dependent on what you selected in that first page. They also have something here which is really awesome. So if you are in some sort of business where you can make an offer or some sort of giveaway, I would highly recommend doing it. What will happen is Facebook is intuitive, obviously, and if you do want to make an offer and someone claims it, like let's say it's a coupon, they will remind them, hey, you selected this offer, you redeemed this offer or this coupon. Did you want to use it? You can use it here, etc. So it does a lot of that retargeting and footwork for you that a lot of people miss out on their marketing. I'm not going to need that right now. I don't have an offer for this type of business or page, or at least for this exact example, so I'm going to skip that. Alright, so you're more than welcome to also make saved audiences. I would highly recommend if you do have your like targeting down to much more of a science, you can do that. Make sure you have a few different types though. One really big tip, other than having those audience saved and like categorized with labels and stuff, make sure you test. So I mean, if you're not testing your ads and your audiences, that could be part of the problem as well. You may think that you're on the money and getting somewhere, especially since Facebook gives you so much information, like this, for example, this little like audience size gauge. However, it is much more efficient to keep testing. I would do over a period of time, run one ad for this amount of time, this ad for this amount of time, for these people, etc. You could do something that's called A and B testing, which is really just a way of saying split testing. So I have one ad that is set this way, and I'm going to run this other ad, pretty similar if not identical, to this target audience. You can mix that up as well. It doesn't have to be audiences. It can always be, I'm going to do the same audience but completely different images because I want to see which one gets the most reaction. You can do all kinds of testing like that. Highly recommend doing it. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and make a new audience though, just to show you what you can kind of do with those audiences. So let's see. What I want to go ahead and do, simply because it is house related and I'd like to go see the property, I'm going to list it for something local. It's very important you think about those things. You don't want to just end up going to some blind target area. You don't want to just target the whole U.S. or every single country ever if you're not going to do international shipping or you're not going to go there, or let's say it's a brick and mortar store you're advertising for, you name it. You want to make sure that you're thinking about all these little details because they do matter. In fact, let's get down to a little bit more of that. So here we have age. That's a great example. So what I said is I'm doing something house and real estate related. That automatically gives you kind of that gauge of, oh, I should probably increase this age. Don't get me wrong. Several young people, in their early 20s, even 18, if they are slaying some sort of entrepreneur game, they may have a house. And that is absolutely understandable, but that is not who I'm going for, especially in this, because of the business that it's in. So again, reinforcing that you need to be behind the mindset of who you're targeting and the person that you are targeting, what would they think when they saw it? So I know that if I targeted some 18-year-old who just bought a house, that is completely not the right person I'm targeting, and they wouldn't even think the right thing from seeing that ad. So what I'm going to do is get into more psychology of it. So I know, okay, I'm targeting distressed properties, properties can be sold fast, that kind of thing, foreclosure, divorce. That is definitely not something that may be in that lower age range. I'm going to go bump it up somewhere in this, mid to high 20s, if not older. I would say probably something like this, 25, 26. I don't want to miss out on, some prospects simply because I was too detailed, but I do want to get kind of in there and make sure that I'm hitting more people. If you'll notice, if you'll notice, this will change. This number will change, and so will this little gauge here. So we're going to keep watching that as we go. I'm going to go ahead and leave the 65 plus because in my mind, I would actually need them simply because if they want to sell, just because they're moving to a nursing home, they're living with their family, they just have an extra house, who knows. Go ahead and leave something like that in there because it makes sense. Gender. So I tend to leave gender alone, and here's why. So you will never know who ends up on your website, right? Targeting gender, I think, is kind of silly because you'll have one expectation and you could be completely surprised by the outcome. You may find that more men visit this site that you thought was literally just for women. Kind of the other catch-22 of that is, let's say that it's some sort of like holiday, right? Let's say I'm shopping for, boyfriend, girlfriend. That doesn't mean that I am that same gender. You could be, absolutely, but you never know. And that's exactly why you don't want to exclude things like that. You want to keep it all simply because you have no idea who someone's dating, what gender they are, maybe if they're transitioning. It could be so many things. And that is what I'm saying. Don't get overwhelmed by those possibilities, but make sure you think of stuff like that because that is exactly part of the problem is people are kind of silly. Okay, so I've got another section here in language. Some people leave that alone, but think about some more to that. So for me, I have encountered people who speak other languages selling a house. So I would want to make sure I maybe be more detailed here. So I'm gonna definitely put English. Perfect. Lucky for me, I have a business partner who is fluent in Spanish, so I'm gonna add that. Okay. And notice here how the number is, I think it was about the same as what it just was, but this little gauge is moved. So both things may move one at a time or both at a time. Watch this stuff because it does make a difference. In fact, I would say this is still too high of a number. It's a pretty high number. I don't think I want that many people for what I'm trying to do. So think about things like that. All right, so this is where it's super great. Detailed targeting. Facebook is fantastic. You can find suggestions, so things I have looked up before. Obviously, I've looked at, likely to move, so I'll add that in there. Maybe they've looked at house hunting or buying a house before, or relocation. Any number of things. It'll literally help kind of determine stuff. And if you notice here, when I'm hovering over these things, it gives you a little breakdown to the side. It'll have a description, some interests that tie into that, as well as the size it may reach from that. So it's fantastic. Let's see. So I would say for these, I'd probably leave what I'm looking for just because of the criteria for my buying. So I'd probably leave that. You're more than welcome to come over here to browse though. These are just suggestions, right? So browse. This lets you actually go in there and pick those little suckers. So I can go to interest. I can go into business and industry. I can go into banking. Boom. Stuff like that. Of course, I'm going to ignore that because it's just an example. Okay, so as you see, this option lets Facebook automatically expand the interests in your detailed targeting. That way it has more chance to reach people. So it may just kind of pick up on some things, which is, I would leave that on. Facebook is very intuitive sometimes. Sorry, I just grabbed some water. Okay, so connection type. Connection type is also cool. So let's say that someone, maybe following my page or liking my page. I can target people who like it or friends of those people, etc. You can kind of get in there and be specific like that. For my purpose, it doesn't really apply. I don't have an app. I don't have an event going on. So I'm going to go ahead and just skip over that. Okay. Here's something that I really quickly want to point out. So you see how this says recommended? By nature, you're going to want to click on that recommended. You're going to want to do what they're asking you to do. And that is 1,000% okay. I totally get where you're coming from. But in this case, that would be the wrong instinct. What you want to do is actually edit the placement. Alright, so why is that, Ashley? Why do I want to edit the placement? Don't I want them to just suggest it to people? Aren't they marketing for me? Yeah, they are marketing for you. But think about them. They are a business. They're making money off this somehow. So they may put your ads in a spot that's less likely to convert, such as like the right column, for example. Stuff like that. Simply just because they are still, quote unquote, honoring your marketing, helping market you, but it's in less likely of an area to convert, so you're kind of wasting money and wasting clicks. So I keep it somewhere that will convert and only waste money on things that I actually think would matter. So go ahead and, take a bunch of this off. Audience network, you don't need, sponsored messages in Messenger. I would take it out of Instagram too, in fact. I know you're like, what? But I would just leave it in like the Facebook like main middle section there, something like that. And it will say you'll get fewer conversions doing so, which makes a bit of sense. Think about it, you're in less places. However, it's not always the case. So again, that always goes back to that whole thing that I mentioned several times now. You're going to want to test. Because what I'm doing now may not work in a few months. They may change something around where it no longer is applicable. So definitely make sure you're testing at any given time, as often as you can, any audience, you name it. Okay. I'm going to have it on all the devices. That's something that's really cool if there is some sort of feature you have. Like, let's say you only have an app for iPhone, and that's what you're marketing right now. Why in the world would you tease Android users? That's just cruel. So go ahead and just throw in the iOS devices only, or feature phones only, whatever you want to put in there, and it'll do the work for you. Okay, now down to the budget. Budget is what tends to trip people up as well too. If you're not stuck on all the crazy stuff they have to offer you, then you get stuck here on the budget. I would say keep it low. I have a daily budget about $5, and that is simply because when I look at it, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna be out just $5 for this one test, if not less. That I can afford to do. If this was a daily budget of like 20, yeah, I may reach more people, but as I'm testing and doing these things, I'm out $20 at a time. When I could do 4 tests, $5 a piece, and get probably the same amount of reach from that one I did for 20. Kind of make sense? So make sure you're thinking of stuff like that as well while you're testing. And also keep in mind, when you're paying for this, it's pay per click. Like the name says, it's pay per click. So if, let's say that I'm not reaching as many people as I like with this daily budget, which can happen, absolutely. But that's awesome because if they're only, clicking on it a couple times, I will not reach this $5 amount. So I will not even be out $5, I'll be out less, and I will know, okay, this is not an ad I want to run. It is not converting, first of all. Second of all, wow, it's literally just costing me money to do nothing, even if a little amount. So I'll go ahead and just shut that off. You can see these different analytics on your ads, and you'll know when you want to go in and turn them on or off again, or change them around for a new one, whatever you're doing. So I would definitely go and peek at all these. I can even show you some examples of mine after this. But you can decide if you want to do like a schedule. Like, let's say I want to make it in a calendar. I have, an event coming up or something. I want to do this date to this date. Or maybe let's say I have happy hour and I'm like a restaurant, right? I want to make sure I'm only doing, 12 to 3. Those are my happy hours. Then make sure you're putting that in there. Otherwise, you can do something like in continuous, and then it'll show you that you're spending about that much per week. Going to continue. Okay. So what it's going to do is make sure that it links up to the right person. It's going to make sure it goes to the right page, which is that one. Perfect. If you want to do advertising on Instagram, you can do that there. For format, this is obviously just like how you're going to put your images or video or yada yada. For this, I always recommend keeping it very, very simple, either doing a single image or like a video. Carousel's okay, but when you have this over here, the collection, to me, it's too much. I know some people like it, but to me, as a consumer, myself even, I don't click on things that are too much to look at unless the visuals behind it are very, very, very captivating. I have to be really intrigued to click on a lot of words or pictures. And I feel like that across the board applies to a lot of people. A lot of research shows that they don't want to read or click too much. So I keep it very simple and do these single style ones. So obviously I'm doing a picture. You probably can't tell, but I'm going to do a picture, so I'll do that. I'm going to upload my image. Let me go right there. Okay, perfect. So it's going to go over there. It's going to show me what it looks like. I mean, you can kind of see here, so I can tell this is not a picture I'd want to use, right? Like this little preview, it shows me, it doesn't show all the words, it doesn't show the phone number. I would definitely make sure that I would go back to Canva. Here, I can show you. So I know that what I used for my ad there, what design it was probably an Instagram post. Yep, those are the pixel size. So you can see there that that's not going to work on this. So I'm pretty sure there is actually a Facebook sponsored ad type of pixel size. Just trying to find it. You see what I mean? Like they have it. It's a thing. There we go. Facebook ads. So they do have recommended pixel sizes. So I would say probably if you are going to run ads, make sure that you, if you're going to do them, go in there and design them per like platform. And what I mean by that is maybe have a folder of Facebook ads and label like this is a Facebook ad, this is a Facebook banner, this is a Facebook image. Have an Instagram one. Say this is a an Instagram image, Instagram ad, whatever the case may be. Just make sure you're very, very labeled and detailed. As you saw, since I just threw a random one in there, it doesn't work. It's just looking like this. For this whole example, I don't really care though. It doesn't really matter to me, but for you, I would definitely make sure you're exploring that and using Canva, or at least checking out the dimensions for what you should be doing. Okay, perfect. So I can see like, where it should look, that kind of thing. Let's see, the link for your type of ad. So if you want to link them to an event, you can. If you want to link them to a website, to Messenger, you can do any of these things. Let's see, so. Something like that, whatever you want to do. It might be too wordy, like you see how it just looks like too much for someone to read. I can tell, that's weird. Take that out. So, I mean, this preview section is going to be something fantastic. It literally is showing you exactly what it's going to do for you. So please use it. This is what I would do here. So obviously put in your URL. Okay. Boom. Equal states. And then here what it's going to do is give a little headline. I would do something to draw some attention maybe. So I would say probably like cash offer. Here. So this is just something like marketing tip, draw attention to this little headline. They're still going to get to your website regardless, and they're going to know your name here. So make sure you're grabbing something with this. And this may be a bad example. It's not like the one I would probably put in there. I put something different, but you see how that's drawing a little bit? You're probably curious. Cash offer. No obligation for what? I would love to learn more. Perfect. Then we're following the marketing exactly how we should. So I mean, again, this copywriting that you're doing, be whatever you want. Make sure it grabs attention though, and make sure it gets people to want to do your call to action. Your call to action can be so many things, by the way. Let's say you're a restaurant, they can see your menu. You're a store, they can shop, they can sign up, they can watch a video, request a time or book a time with you if you have some sort of like calendar to lead them to. Literally anything. Like they have so much. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at learn more. And then, so it's telling me that it might reach less people because there's too much text on the image, which you will get that report here and there. There is a tool you can use to check that. Let me see if I have it. Facebook. Sorry, I forget what it's called. It's like Facebook ads, something overlay. It's like a horrible, horrible URL. Just gonna see if I can find it. There we go. See, sometimes just searching it. Alright, so if you are watching this video and want to pause and write this down, please do. Literally, I'm going to bookmark it now because I found it again. Text overlay tool. Okay, so what this does here is essentially it's going to tell you if the image you want to upload has too much text or not, that kind of thing. So I'm going to plug in the same image I used and it'll run a report. So you can see here it'll rate it, high, medium, low, or okay. This one's a little bit low. It's literally here. So this one is bad. This one's meh. This one's one more tweak or so, and this one's good. It means it'll run perfectly fine. Something like this, though, I have run into these before. I have had some campaigns reach a few people, quite a few people, even with text like this, if not more text like this. So what I like to do is use this, yes, but if I really am set on the image I'm using, I've made as many tweaks as I can. I'll just request a manual review. So I would just request that if I wanted, hit confirm, I'll just do it. Confirming your items. It's going to go ahead and place my order here. It's going to take a few seconds, and then what it's going to do is go ahead and have them review that. They say it could take, 24, 48 hours. Honestly, it really doesn't take too long. Sometimes the next, few minutes, I'll have it approved. So totally up to that. You can even duplicate some of your ads. So let's say that you want to do something very similar. You're doing some split testing, but you're change just like one or two things. You can go ahead and duplicate it. That way you have a very, very similar template to go from, not walk through so many steps, and then continue on. So there's that. That was a quick little, creation. Let me see if I can show you any ads I run. Analytics. Okay. Oh, I don't want that. Sorry. See, they update everything. It's the worst, but it's great at the same time. See, change is coming soon. Thank you for telling me at least. Okay. So, I mean, it lets you go over so many things. For me, there's a lot more to it because I've got a business type where it lets you manage several accounts. I manage mine and other people. But what it will let you do is go in here, see your different campaigns, see that stuff, results, reach, whatever, tell you amounts spent, etc. You can literally break it down however you like and really get in there and get detailed with it. Completely depends on how you want to get that set up, though. I would say a great thing to do, like I've said it probably a few times now, is research Facebook changes and just kind of play with it and test. Oh, look, as you can see, my ad is approved. So see how fast that was? I'm still talking to you guys, and it's already been approved and set out, even though I don't want to run it. So I'm probably going to turn that back off. But you see how easy it was? It's labeled. I can literally go in there and turn it on and off like a toggle switch. So it's really just super basic Facebook ads. In fact, I could probably explain more and better, but it just is such a big world in there. I don't mind going over more videos, doing more examples, maybe doing different types of ads that aren't just conversion or whatever. For example, there was lead generation, there was messaging, etc. I definitely can do different ones if you like. I can even do other marketing strategies. There's several out there. Facebook isn't the only thing that exists. So definitely go through these. What I would do is even maybe click on these little tools that it offers you, like advertiser help on the side, just so you get a general idea of the things that Facebook does, because it does way more than even I sometimes use or it may be aware of. So it helps you that edge if you're willing to sit down for just a few minutes and check that out. So that was that. Again, if you guys have more questions, anything like that, definitely reach out. I can do some more videos or just kind of in general with you go over it.